The next topic is one we keep returning to because the problem is not going away, to say the least. Inflation. Fuel prices, food prices, basically all prices. And there's two things I want to make clear. Number one, a number of our political leaders have said that we are suffering from inflation, but so is the rest of the world. That's really not true. I mean, I could use harsher language. I'll try not to. There are a couple of places in the world that have inflation as high as we do. Canada, for example. But most of the rest of the world has lower inflation. And at the bottom of the list of developed countries that have inflation below 2%, while ours is in the 8.5% range, that is 4 times faster, among the countries I thought you'd be interested to know with below 2% rates of inflation, People's Republic of China and Japan. So don't tell me we can't manage it, or don't even tell me it has to be a socialist country. Japan isn't any of those. It manages it real well. And we ought to wonder what it is about our great leadership, both parties, that they can't manage it, and our federal bank, our Federal Reserve, can't manage it either, even though that's the job of the Federal Reserve. Okay, what is this all about? Well, we are told by the businesses, and remember, it's the business that raises the prices. Workers don't have control over prices. Employers do. Employers, who are 1% of the population, if that, have the power to raise the prices that the other 99% have to pay without having any role in deciding what they are. There's nothing democratic about an inflation. The only thing you might call democratic is who suffers the most from it, because the employers can raise prices to offset the extra prices they face. The workers are never in a comparable position to do that. That's why today the inflation is 8.5%, and the rate of increase of wages so far 2022 about 4% a year, not even close. Well, what's the explanation our employers give us? Well, they tell us there are supply chain disruptions. Things aren't getting to us on time. Why that entitles them to raise prices, I'll leave to your imagination. That has to do with markets, but I want to focus on the excuse. Here we go. The COVID is another part of it. You see people held back, and then they decided to spend, and then they're worried about inflation, they're holding back. It is the job of a capitalist to anticipate and manage risk. There are courses in how to manage risk in every business school curriculum. One of the justifications capitalists give for why they deserve the big salaries and the profits the company gets is because they have to manage risk. Well, guess what? The inflation, if it's caused by supply chain disruptions and wobbly demand, means they're not managing risk. Every capitalist knows that the supplies can be interrupted. Rain can do that. Civil unrest can do that. An accident can do that. You're supposed to have backup plans. You're supposed to have inventory stored so that you can keep delivering even when there's a disruption. It is astonishing. You know, you could claim rain is your problem, but someone would point out that's why you have a roof over your building, so you're not disrupted by the rain. This is whining by people who don't want to square with us. They're raising prices because it enhances their profits. Take a look at their profits. Notice how they're going up with their prices. Okay, last, before we take our break. The inflation is now going to be attended, we are told, by raising interest rates. Okay, folks, let's be blunt. When you raise an interest rate, you're hurting borrowers. And who are borrowers? Well, let's see. Everybody who borrows to buy a home, everybody who borrows to buy a car, everybody who borrows to use their credit card, because using your credit card is a loan, and every student who borrows to get an education. Raising interest rates whacks the borrower, and that's mostly the mass of our people. CEOs don't worry about rising interest rates because they have enormous salaries that are not affected and they don't lose their jobs. But if masses of people respond to rising interest rates by cutting back, like they have during the inflation, because rising prices make you cut back on spending, that will destroy many, many jobs. The inflation destroys jobs, and now raising interest destroys jobs. This is an economic system that keeps telling us it can only solve its problems in one particular way, and we have to notice that the mass of the people are on the short end of that stick and ought to wonder. You can call it economic policy all you want, but you know what it is? It's class warfare, the warfare of the 1% who are dumping their problems on the 99%.